what advice would you have for some of these like young guys playing Fortnite right now in terms of, you know, obviously your era was a little bit different in terms of what you had to do to kind of compete, but, you know, how would you prioritize, you know, for example, practicing and just working on your own mechanical skill versus, you know, becoming really familiar with your opponents and how they play and knowing what their tendencies are? And, you know, how would you prepare for that sort of practice? Like, do you purposely look for players that can compete against you? Like, how much time did you spend training with the, let's say, 3 or 4 guys that you felt at a tournament most worried, like, if I have a bad day, like, these guys could actually beat me? Like, did you ever train with them, or was that just like a, nope, you stay in that way, I'll stay over here, and we'll both kind of beat up on slightly worse people and make sure that the other person doesn't steal any of our like game knowledge?
You need to have camaraderie with people on your level or better, you know. And so I always try to play with guys who are like top 64 in the world. So like 64 is kind of like, I mean, if I had to go to a top 120 in the world, I would, you know. But I typically, you know, you find a player that's like, you know, when I was at the end, you know, at the very end, like when I was playing against whoever I could find in Painkiller, I was playing against the top 32 players in the world. So I found a guy I found everything from, I mean, the guys who came to my training and for that training camp where I won the $1 Million World Tour, 3 guys in that facility, in my training camp, finished in the top 8. I mean, obviously I took first, but like 2 other players took like, you know, they took other places that finished very well in the tournament. So it's a testament to like how we train and so forth, and how I can prepare people for success. And so the training that I would advise to people that are, you know, playing Fortnite and so forth. I mean, I've been playing Fortnite, you know, recently. Like I think I put 160 hours in two weeks, and that was mainly just because I was just like, I'm trying to get past the learning curve of the mechanics. And obviously, people that have been playing for the last 2 years have all the mechanics in the world for the game, you know. But sometimes, like, I try to crush it in really fast because I'm trying to catch up to, like, you know, ground level to some degree, right? But obviously, I have my natural, like, hand-eye coordination, reflexes, aiming, positioning, shots, all that stuff that happen naturally. So naturally, I'm going to be pretty good at the game. But for people that are trying to get into playing Fortnite or already playing it, yeah, definitely try to find the best talent you possibly can find to train with. Also having deep conversations about strategy or whatnot. Talking about the game and not playing the game is very powerful. There's so many times where me and my friends would just sit back and just talk about the game. And then it was so funny, like I found out about a thing I did not know in the game 6 months after the game has already been out. So there's sometimes you miss things in the game that you just didn't even know existed by just talking and brainstorming. So brainstorming about how the fight goes down, what do you think, what bothers you the most, what bothers me the most, and like kind of like figuring it out. And then, you know, you gotta, you know, always training and playing with people in person is way more powerful than doing it online. Even though we have Discord and all these ways to communicate and so forth, which does help a ton, there's still like a connection a little bit lost of just being there physically with the person. So when I trained back in the day, I mean, I always, I mean, 24/7 I'm trying to find people to train with. I would drive to 3 hours away to go to Omaha, Nebraska for the weekend to train, to play with someone that's good, you know. I would throw LAN parties. I actually started a LAN party company, throwing LAN parties in Kansas City to train more, you know what I mean? So for me, I was definitely all in all the time, and I was doing whatever I could to be the best gamer in the world. And so it's a thing that you constantly want to try to improve on, and you know, it's a never-ending battle. It never stops. If you stop, someone's going to pass you. So just depends on how much dedication you have to do it. Obviously, you want to play with the best equipment. You want to play with equipment, particularly you want to play with equipment that the tournament is using. So what I would do in the past is I would find out what the tournament is using. I would find out what monitor they're using. I would find out what computer they're using, what processor. I would find out all these details about the tournament itself. And then I would replicate that at home. So basically, I'm training on the tournament system, but I'm training at home, right? So that's how far I would go to.
Did you measure like your keyboard distance from the edge of the table and the height of the desk, like all that stuff?
I would measure the height of the chair at the tournament. Like, you have no idea how crazy I was. Dude, I was a different breed for sure. But I was looking at, I was always trying to think of what could someone else have on me? What advantage could they have on me? And so I'm constantly on the hunt to find out what could someone have a jump on me. So I'm trying to find every percentile of extra data or information, or make things easier for myself to play at the highest degree. I mean, I used to be so, I would never sit in a swivel chair. Like, I'm sitting in a swivel chair right now. In a tournament, I would never sit in a swivel chair because I thought it would affect my aim, So I had like stupid things like this. I would request, I want a banquet chair. This chair is much nicer. I'm like, believe me, the banquet chair. So it was very fun back in the day. Obviously, all the things I went through throughout my career. But yeah, I mean, it's, it was, I think people kind of like don't realize how much work it was. But, I did it the longest out of anyone. And that's kind of speaks for my record for itself. I mean, for about 11 plus years, I had the highest earnings in esports for a very long time.
It's not even like, I encourage anybody who's watching this to go on YouTube, type in like highest earning esports players of all time. There'll be like this video that's like a bar graph. It just like has like a name and like bar graphs that kind of come across the screen, and watch that. And you will see Fatal1ty at the top of that thing for like an insane amount of time. Yeah, over a decade for sure. It's ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. Like I said at the beginning, it wasn't like you're here and the other guy's like, oh, you can't really see my hands, but it's not like they're like this far apart. No, like your graph is like the entire length of the screen.
There's one guy on the chart.
And the other guys are like, all like, you could barely see their bar graphs. They're like these little tiny things. So
yeah, and that was kind of by design too. I mean, I wanted to, I had a lot of people saying that, this is a fad, this is not going to last, and so forth all the time. Like when I was playing Quake 3, and you're the best Quake 3 player in the world, but you're not the best gamer in the world. I'm like, okay, now I gotta prove myself. So that's why I started playing ABB2. That's why I started playing Unreal Tournament. That's why I moved on to Painkiller and all these other games. Was to kind of prove, that I am the best gamer in the world. And so, but I had a big chip on my shoulder to prove people wrong. Obviously I had my parents on my back a little bit, but that quickly changed when I brought over $100,000 in my first year.
Yeah, it's funny how that'll do that, eh?
Well, you're buying me a Cadillac?
Okay. Oh,
I bought my Cadillac with my first prize winnings.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a smart bribe, sir. That's a good way to get your dad. Okay, as long as you keep making the money, we'll allow you to do this thing, right?